Welcome to Epic Conversations. I'm Diane, and we are here today with my special guests and friends, Dr. Delron, Shirley, and his wife, Peggy. And we're continuing, and this is the last session we're going to be doing on marriage. And we're going through their book, Delron's book, Your Home Can Survive the 21st Century. It can. And there's been a lot of excellent episodes. I'd encourage you to watch them. Dr. Delron and Peggy, they have been married over 40 years. They also have been in ministry over 40 years. They have taught and teach at Charis Bible College. They've traveled all over the world. They've been missionaries, they're teachers, evangelists, you name it, they've probably done it. And so we're honored to have you both on the show. And this has been awesome. So today, for those of you who have children, we are going to talk about parenting in marriage. So if you're enjoying these episodes, please subscribe to this channel and share it with a friend. We appreciate it. Thank you. So, okay, Delron and Peggy, you are both parents. You have...
Yeah, it takes two.
It does. Yeah, I think so.
We have three sons that are all out and about, and two of them are married. And so, yeah, we have a lot of experience, but we did a lot of good things, we did a lot of bad things. So,
okay, then you're normal. Because
we are normal.
Successful people make mistakes.
Yes. You said that you name it, we've probably done it. Well, a lot of things that we have done is that I've always enjoyed my boys. I don't know, what it's like to raise girls, but boys are fun. And I've always had a great time with the boys. One thing I've always believed is that you need to train them. The Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go. And actually that Hebrew word can be translated, train up a child according to his nature, in the way that he is intended to go.
Oh, that's good.
So you have to begin to understand the personality of your child, so that you can train him according to the way that God has already, put a direction in his life. And, so we've talked about the four personalities, the DISC.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got to understand that. You got to see who that child is. And if you can understand that child according to his nature, then you know how to best orient the training and the discipline. There's a lot of difference between just raising kids and being a parent. Raising kids, you can make sure they have the right food, the right diet, the right exercise, the good education. You can raise them, but to parent them is a discipline that has to do with their nature as well.
And you talk about that in more detail, right?
Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
and each of our sons are different, and you'll find that each one is different. There's one like me, one like him, and one that's a mix. But you have to, if you ask God, again, God's the source of all this, you'll see how to do it. And we, thank God, we have very positive relationships. We talk to them every week. They come over. We have very, very positive experience with our kids. And it doesn't mean if we did everything right. It doesn't mean our kids were perfect. But, for example, a lot of you, the most important thing I could tell you before I get in this, how important the simple words are, I love you, or I'm proud of you. A lot of us, I wasn't raised with those things. He was. And I can tell you, it really affected my life. I didn't feel loved because I wasn't told I was loved, never encouraged, criticized a lot. So I chose as a parent to take all that I didn't get, to be that mother, or in his case, he was very positive, to give them what I didn't get. So be careful, because some of you, if you're not careful, you will end up doing the very same things that your parents did. People said to me, I was abused, and guess what? I'm beating my kids. I said, yeah, but you've got the Lord now to change you. I said, I was criticized. I was never told I was loved. So when I saw myself not wanting, I made myself stop criticizing, look for the good things. You're going to be just like what your mother was to you. Make a big effort to tell your kids that they're loved. That's so important. Give them time, which is what Delron did and I did. We still do. Make them feel important. So these are little things, and we only have a short segment. I want to give it back over to him. But I tell you, it makes all the difference in the world. And I would say to you, I had a lot of material things, but I didn't have time with my parents. So don't think, oh my God, I'm a bad parent because I'm not giving them this and they haven't. No, your kids will tell you, as I would say to my parents, I would have rather had your time than all the cars and things you gave me. Time is so valuable.
Yeah, words of affirmation and time are two very important things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I always enjoyed looking for the teaching moments, where, we're in an amusement park.
Mm-hmm.
The word amusement means not to think. Okay? You're supposed to be not thinking when you're in an amusement park. Okay? But, we're standing in a line waiting to ride a roller coaster. It's going to turn us upside down. Okay? And so while you're standing in the line, instead of just standing there and, I said, do you know why that roller coaster can go that way and people don't fall out? And, so then I began to give them lessons on centripetal force and centrifugal force, and physics lessons, and so, I know we've been driving down the road when they were kids, and we'd just pull off the side of the road and go out in the field, and I would look at some natural thing, a plant or an animal that we saw or whatever, and give them a biology lesson, so just making sure that you're getting them well-rounded and that sort of thing.
But one thing I want to tell you, kids watch you like a hawk. They will imitate you. And I'll never forget one day we were going out of a restaurant. We had these kids out to dinner, and they gave Delron 2 or 3 cents wrong change that he needed to give back to them. And so I said, what are you doing? And in front of the kids, he said, oh no, they overpaid me. I'm going to give them back the money. My kids will never forget that. A lot of people said, well, that's their mistake. I'm going to go for it. I noticed with my sons, we used to have people over all the time. We would give them things. We would be kind to them. They said, Mom, he's here again. I said, they need ministry. So our kids have learned to give, to be kind. They don't know what the word prejudice is. We would have people of all nations in our house, and of course we go to all nations. So our kids they don't know what it means to hate the blacks or whatever. It's so important that you are the role model. And we had a really hard thing happen to us in my family, and I was very upset. I could have gotten very bitter and unforgiving. And the Lord said to me, they're watching you. And I told her, I don't want to forgive. I don't want to get over this. But I had a responsibility as a mother and as a parent to set example. And so I chose to forgive. And my kids, it was a very big injustice that happened. And they'll still talk about how Mom and Dad handle, especially Mom, because it was my family. So these are things, like he said, there's teaching moments, not only educationally, but as a Christians, we have to. Now, am I perfect? Is he perfect? No. But generally speaking, we just don't talk it, we walk it. And when I don't walk it, I'm the first to say, your mother was totally in the flesh and she blew it today, and I am sorry. And because they have to know you're going to blow it.
You're human too.
But I will tell you, being a parent is the most important job in the world. And now we're seeing, as our kids are older, I see a lot of this coming out. They'll even say things he said, or they'll say, Mom, I did this for so-and-so. And I said, I remember when you did that for so-and-so, we helped them. My kids would give out financially because they saw us do it. So I can't tell you how important it is. Now, it's not you ask God for guidance. You ask God to do it. But I am telling you, it's really sad or glad what you could do for your kids.
In the book, I have a chapter called Saturday Mornings in the Workshop.
Ooh.
Maybe it's not in that book. It's in another book, I think. But anyway, it belongs in that one too. But I worked a lot when my boys were young because I was dean of a Bible college. And so we had day classes and night classes. So I was there day and night. We were associate pastors at church, so I was at church every day on Sunday, But Saturday morning, we spent Saturday morning in the workshop. And because my precious wife was able to break at least 2 or 3 things every week that needed to be repaired. And of course, raising 3 boys, there were always plenty of things that got broken. And so on Saturday mornings, we would go in the workshop and we would fix things. And so they learned not only handicraft and how to use tools and things like that, but they learned a lot of principles. My son still today will say, measure twice, but cut once, because I always make them measure everything twice before they cut it because it double check. And so he applies that to every principle in life. Every decision he makes, say, I'm going to measure this twice. So giving them time and looking for those teaching moments. But what's really most important of all is to be giving yourself time with God and looking for those teaching moments from God. He's our Father. Mm-hmm. And as we have that father-son relationship with Him, then that gives us a pattern for having the father-son relationship with our children. Because, you don't just learn this naturally. You learn it supernaturally. He is the Father. And if you want to be a father, the best thing is to incorporate the Father in your life. Right. We were in Tahiti. I mean, the tropic paradise. The ideal vacation. Our oldest son didn't come with us because he had just turned 16. And he had, his first little job. And so he couldn't take time off to go on this family vacation. So we missed that vacation. Honestly, he was happy not to go because now he was 16. He was old enough not to have a babysitter. He had his driver's license, and, this was, being at home without mom and dad and without a babysitter, that was his real ideal of a vacation. He preferred that over Tahiti. But anyway, so Peggy and I and the other 2 boys were in Tahiti, and I was snorkeling, underneath the ocean, on the other side of the world, right at the international date line, where the whole world turns around in one day, by crossing one little time zone. Anyway, and about as far away as you could possibly be. And as I was snorkeling under the ocean, the Lord spoke and says, pray for your son. And so here I am, swimming around in a coral reef with all these tropical fish and underneath the ocean praying in tongues over my son.
This is the one that was home.
This is the one that was home.
Right, and he gave me the same thing. I didn't realize. He was in the water, I was on the beach. I said, we got to pray for Jonathan.
Anyway, at exactly that moment, we calculated the time zone differences. At exactly that moment, he was in an automobile accident that totaled his car. Now, it wasn't his fault. The sun was in the other driver's eyes, and he couldn't see. He was blinded by the sun, and ran a red light and crashed into our son, totaled the car. He got out without even a stitch, without even needing a chiropractor adjustment or anything,
Wow.
But how did that happen? His life was saved because that his father was having a relationship with his father.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And you heard it too. You're right. When God comes first, it's our relationship with God the Father. And then springs everything else. So your relationship with your children, how to parent them and how to teach them and how to share principles and even just spending time. I'm sure your sons really enjoyed that Saturday morning with Dad because they didn't see him all day. They probably spent more
And
time
you don't
with
have to have a lot of money either. We didn't have a lot. We would take walks together. We would take hikes. When we could, we would take him to museums. Just little things, but it was the time. And he, especially since he didn't have any, that was precious to the boys.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And there's more in their book. We are so thankful that you could join us. And I would encourage you, if you want, get this book. It's just powerful. It's about marriage. A home can survive in the 21st century and even thrive. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, have an epic day in the Lord.